Buen
Rebecca.
Mida. Thank you. Sorry, I've put the link there. Let me know
We're
if it
live.
works.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
very good. All
Thank
right.
you.
Welcome, everyone, to our Daily Success Call. John Lavinia here with you, as always. And I see a bunch of our friends here. Always a good time to get together. Lighter crowd today because it is a national holiday or a bank holiday or some sort of a holiday. Here in the United States, it is Labor Day. In fact, I was reminded of that this morning when I went to the gym, and they're doing holiday hours today. And I tend to go really early. And so they were closed. So I got to do calisthenics and stuff at home. The main thing is that I got my exercise in, which is part of my daily method of operation, in which I know all of you are participating in, every single one of you participating in vigorous exercise every day religiously, right? We're all doing that. Labor Day in Canada as well, Deborah. Fantastic. Happy Labor Day to you. You know, as entrepreneurs, actually, this is I think a pretty good conversation. Something we can take up here a little bit. As entrepreneurs, we obviously get paid for the production, you know, and for the results that we get in the marketplace, not for we get punched the clock and have somebody give us a day off or something. I guess we give us a day off, but it was I just had the weekend and I took a little bit of time to myself, which actually is kind of a mixed bag. You know, there's an old saying, idle hands do the devil's work. And so I like being busy. I think TGIM, we've talked about this before, haven't we? TGIM, everybody knows TGIF. Well, I say TGIM. Thank God it's Monday. Look at my calendar. Wow, I got business. In fact, somebody here in the group asked me, would I be active and, doing work and stuff on Monday? I was like, well, of course, TGIM. I love Mondays, right? Now, that being said, a lot of us here are new to this whole realm of entrepreneurship, right? Whereas maybe you're still working a job or whatever you're doing, okay, that got you up to this point and that keeps the lights on while you start building momentum here. But it's a bit of a departure mentally, psychologically. It's a bit of a departure for a lot of us when we look at, now I actually get to be my own boss. I actually get to give myself a command and follow it or not, right? We can call that discipline. I get to have discipline, and it's self-determined. It's not something where, because the agenda of the corporation, which makes my decisions for me, told me now that it's time to take a day off. Now it's time to go on break. Now it's time to do this amount of production, and don't do too much. Otherwise you're going to make your coworkers look bad. I mean, all these stories about, life in the workaday world, you get to, in some of your cases, you get to, for the first time, confront that and actually make some new decisions, which I think is beautiful. Because look, if nothing changes, nothing changes. But that begs the consideration of, why am I showing up here in the first place? I know this is something that I've come back to again and again, but the idea that you could be, do, and have more in terms of your own self-expression, your own, flexing your own muscles financially and otherwise, the fact that you could do that and that you've got an opportunity to do that without too much complication and cost and everything else. I know, we had some people here just before we went live talking about some of the technical aspects of this. So yes, that's real too. Okay. Not nearly as complicated as a lot of what other people are doing to, support themselves, their family, make money on the internet, right? There's a lot more complicated paths that you could take, but still you've got enough purpose for being here. Especially, let me acknowledge everyone who's here on a national holiday. You've got enough purpose for being here where I think you could and should recognize that you've got a higher level of discipline, and I would argue a higher level of purpose for being here, for doing whatever work you've chosen to do. You see, in the workaday world, there are people, I would say a majority of them, who show up enough to not get fired. And I don't mean to sound critical or condemnatory. I think, stating the obvious. That have you ever been to, I'm sure you have, you've been to a restaurant or some sort of a business establishment, and it was very poor service. And the person really didn't give a damn. Of course, they wanted to get paid. Okay. But it was meh, right? You get a meh. And then haven't you also been I had this experience personally. I went to this restaurant. This is in Tucson, Arizona. I don't know if it's still there. I lived in Tucson for 10 years. There was this restaurant called Giacomo's. Did I ever tell you about Giacomo's restaurant? Did I ever tell you about that, Missy? No? Okay. So, so you walk into Giacomo's and it's a little hole in the wall place, kind of like you'd find in New York City. Okay. But this is up in the foothills of Tucson, Arizona. There's lots more space. But anyway, it's in a strip mall. You walk in this place, there's probably 7 or 8 tables inside, maybe a couple of tables outside if it's not too hot. I know in other parts of the world, people like to sit outside and eat when it's not too cold. Here in Arizona, we like to sit outside and eat when it's not 120 degrees outside. And they got the little misters, the misting systems that are blowing the mist to kind of cool it off. Those things work, by the way. They get clogged up a lot, though, with the calcium. Anyway, story for another time. But you walk into Giacomo's, you sit down. Giacomo is Italian for Jim or James. All right. So in case anybody's wondering what that name means, that name means Jim in English. So you go and you order whatever's on the menu for that day. And while you're sitting there eating, Giacomo always comes out and visits every table. And he's talking to the patrons, to the diners, right? And talking about which ingredients he used. I mean, this guy loves what he does. And he's going to talk to you for a while, like whether you want it or not. He's going to talk. That guy could talk. I guess if he's in between dishes or whatever, he can come out and be social. But did that impress me? Of course it did. I came back to Giacomo's. I had the same kind of experience. Got to be a regular there, semi-regular. Depends on how much time I have. How much time do I have to talk to this guy tonight? But it should have called it Giacomo's Ristorante and Social Experience. But the point is, there's a difference between the person who does enough to not get fired and Giacomo, who loves his work. It's easily observable. There's nothing vague about that. You could see the difference. I wrote about this also in my first book, Integrity is Everything. I wrote about the difference between getting a cup of coffee. Some of you have read this book, getting a cup of coffee at the local convenience store versus getting a cup of coffee from the barista at the, overpriced name brand, coffee place, right? So the one example, you drive up to the store, you walk in and you get the coffee, which is like 89 cents or whatever. And it's probably 2 hours old. And you come up to the front counter, the guy behind the counter says, "Is that it?" "Yeah, that's it." He takes your money and you get the hell out of here, right? So that's experience number one. Experience number two, you drive up to the store, you walk in, you smell the fresh brew. Here's all of the accessories for your coffee loving life. And you can get the French press and you can get the cups, right? Customized cups. And you can get all the stuff. And then the barista greets you and, you order exactly the concoction that you want. They offer you a scone. Any desserts with that today? What name should we put on this creation? And then they proudly call your name and you get to gloriously receive the custom made $4 coffee, right? So we're looking at 89 cents versus $4. But it was an experience. And it was a totally different experience. So here's the question, everyone. Whether it's Labor Day or not, do you intend to impress your customers, your audience, and this goes for any business, okay? Whether we're talking about selling coffee cups, t-shirts, curios, stuff on the internet via e-commerce, or any of the other people you're going to be interacting with throughout your day. Do you intend to impress them with what Wallace D. Wattles called increase? In fact, this is right out of the book, The Science of Getting Rich. The impression of increase. What Wattles said in this book, and some of you, I've sent a copy of this book to. It's out of copyright. It was written in 1910, so I can give you a free one. But what he said was that no matter what you're doing, even if you're just selling a stick of candy to a child at the store, right? Leave him with the impression of increase. Why? Okay, because if you are perceived as the advancing man or woman, right? Like you're going somewhere in life. You are about increase. Anyone who comes into communication with you experiences increase. Their life is better having met you than it was before they met you, even if it's just a stick of candy or if there's no transaction at all. If you get into the habit of doing this, and there's a punchline to all this, so stay tuned. But if you get into the habit of doing this, do you think people are going to be, they're going to want to be more inclined or less inclined to wanting to do business with you?
More.
Of course, more. Very good. Thank you, Karen. Of course, more. And do you think, here's the punchline to all this. Do you think you will feel, just you personally, whether there was a transaction or not, whether you got feedback from another person or not, do you think you would feel better about yourself if you remember before anything you do that you are the advancing man or the advancing woman?
Yes.
There you go. That's right. That's right. So if you look at what drives all of this, this business that you're in, this that you decided to go and reach higher above mediocrity than you've ever done with the job or whatever else your story was that got you here. If we continue to celebrate and if we find cause to celebrate that we are advancing in life, in fact, that we cause advancement for everyone we meet, whether we're transacting with them or not, and we get into the habit of that, how much more confident you think you're going to be when you go into, right, when you go into any interaction, even if it's virtual, even if you're not like John Lavenia, who runs his mouth on computer cameras and broadcasts to the world. Okay, so that's not your post, that's my post. But whatever your post is, even if it's something that where you feel like I'm not even in a dialogue with these customers. Okay, so you may not be having a conversation with the person who's about to exchange with you. But I'm telling you, I don't mean to be mystical about this. This isn't like woo-woo, far out stuff. And, you know, we could all talk about law of attraction and every other law that people have written books about. I'm just telling you that your own morale, your own self-esteem, your own self-image, if we look at books like Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, this is actually what makes your choices. It's not all the intellectualization about it. We could have lots of reasons, good or bad, for doing or not doing, buying or not buying, selling or not selling. Okay, why did we make that design? Why did we do this or why did we do that? It is actually our innermost expectations about who we are and what we represent in terms of our interaction with the rest of the world, which makes our choices. And so we find ourselves, and you can find yourself in what we could call divine right action or spontaneous right action. I just got an idea. You know what? That would be great on a coffee cup. That would be great on a t-shirt. I just got a hunch, right? Who got the hunch? The advancing man, the advancing woman, or the person who's doing just enough to not get fired, so to speak. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, you can't fire yourself. Some of you, it might be better if you actually could fire yourself, because then you'd have, you know, a bit more urgency on this. You'd be like, oh, yeah, I could get fired right now. Okay, well, if you want to run that game, that's an interesting game. I suppose you could fire yourself and then rehire yourself the next day. But but if you do this as the person with full expectation that you are advancing not only yourself, but anyone who comes into communication with you via your coffee cup or whatever the modality is, you do it with a higher level of intent and expectation. And I would say esteem. It's an esteemable action. Look, if you want good self-esteem, do esteemable things. Okay, well, what can I do right now today to demonstrate, regardless of what the calendar says, it's Labor Day or whatever, to demonstrate that I've gone above and beyond because I fully expect to deliver these benefits into the marketplace. And damn it, I feel good about it. I love my work. I love my work. Actually, I could say that for myself. I love my work. Can you? I hope so. And if not, let's find things you can love about it. And I get that you got problems too. We all got, look, I got problems. They're different problems than I would have in other kinds of work. But you pick your problems, right? But there's what's good and right about this. Why am I choosing to express myself in business in this method, in this modality, right? And then you can more fully be that without so much, counter intention about it. So much, inner dialogue or cognitive dissonance about it, right? In other words, stop arguing with yourself. and just get on with it to the point where you know that everything you do and everyone who touches you via whatever the stuff is that you're putting out there, their life is going to be better having met you. And who knows where that goes. Again, not to get mystical or woo woo or anything, but here's the person who bought your product, and now the other people at the office saw the product. They referred their friends. They wound up getting in contact with you via the Amazon thing, and they left a great review. Other people saw the great review, and now here's like this organization. They want 10 million units. I'm just making this up as I go, but do you have a crystal ball? So the same crystal ball that could tell you that could never happen or that won't happen is the same crystal ball that tell you that is going to happen. So since none of us have that same crystal ball, and because it cannot predict the future, good or bad, then let's just go ahead and be advancing. Let's go ahead and just impress people with increase, starting right here with ourselves, so we know who's showing up, and now everybody else can know it. And then let whatever the future holds, bring it. But I can't tell you how many times I've secured combinations that I never expected. I didn't have the crystal ball. I didn't know that this person would talk to that person about me and my stuff. And next thing you know, here's the contract, and bam, money, baby, money. I wouldn't be here talking to you right now had I not impressed enough people with increase in other posts, right? I mean, look, believe it or not, everyone, there was a time when the low-hanging system didn't exist. There was a time when e-commerce didn't exist. There was a time when the internet didn't exist, right? I mean, let's go back a couple of years before Al Gore invented the internet. My goodness. Oh, some of the characters that we get to deal with. But think about that for a minute. That what led up to this, all the other things, in retrospect, we can look back and say, wow, now I'm glad that I went the extra mile, that I impressed people with increase, and I didn't even know I was doing it. You don't have to intellectualize this and know the words. Just know that every time you show up in life or in the mirror, yes, or in the mirror, seek to impress with increase. Be that advancing man or woman. You'll deal with your problems. You'll overcome the barriers and do the thing. Do the thing. That's nice. That's nice. Okay. But do it as that person who touches everyone and impresses them with increase, and just watch what happens. It may not be happening in the next 15 seconds. Okay. Don't get out your spreadsheet and start doing accounting. Okay. Just know that there is a perfect accounting system in the universe. What's your role in all this? Show up as that advancing man or woman and watch what happens. I love you guys. Thank you for being with me here on a Labor Day here in the United States and in Canada. I think it's Labor Day next week in the UK or New Zealand or somewhere. I don't know. I got so many calendars. Who else wants to talk? Please come on out and talk. Raise your hands. Do whatever. We are here for you. Hey, Justin, you've got the floor, my friend. Justin.
Okay, I just want to tell you, thank you for these daily meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And short story, several months ago, I said I need to make a change in my life and that I was going to do it by August, September, October. I started getting up earlier in the morning to work on my own idea of what spiritual work is. And things started happening. And this is one of the things that showed up. And so I embraced it because Rachel was easy to embrace. And then reading the Miracle Morning kind of reflected what I was kind of naturally doing. And all kinds of other things kept showing up, like job offers and the old way of what I wasn't part of my vision. And I was like, oh, I would never say no to work. But lately I've been saying no to, without an interview, a job offer at the University of Iowa. Right after an interview, a purchasing job at a grocery store, et cetera, et cetera. And then the other day, I'd like in need of making some serious money happening. And this weekend, a letter showed up in the mail saying that I was going to get $3,900 in the next 30 days deposited in my bank account. And so I'm just feeling like, this, everything that you're talking about, although I've been pursuing it for 30 years, I just haven't been in the right something, and I'm becoming a clear channel. I think that's part of it, becoming a clear channel, and the fact that you show up every day and Karen shows up and people show up every day, it really makes a difference too. So that's awesome. Thanks.
Thank you, Justin. It's not uncommon that I've had conversations with people who they decide that's it. I am transitioning out of this method or job or whatever into this business, and I am going to put my attention on this business. And as soon as they start building or preparing to build this business, suddenly their statistics in this thing that they were thinking, I'm getting out of this thing, they start throwing money at them. How does that happen? Right? I wanted out of this. Next thing you know, my stats just doubled. Here's how that happens. You're the advancing man. Right? So the accounting or the methods or whatever, I can't account for all that. Okay. And yeah, you could still stick with your intent to transition out of the other thing or whatever it happens to be. But like you were saying, suddenly there is offers coming your way. Wow, we want Justin. Okay. Why do they want Justin? Because of who Justin is. Pretty amazing. Actually, what's amazing is that we're able to screw it up so often. That's truly amazing. Yeah. I'll keep meditating on that. Thank you, brother. Glad you're here. Let's go to Michael up in Canada. Happy Labor Day, Michael.
Happy Labor. I think it's happy not Labor Day. That's the point.
Are you in a bathrobe or something? What is that?
Yes, I am. Do you like it?
Oh, yeah. I wasn't sure if it was a bathrobe or a smoking jacket. If you had a pipe.
Well,
Okay,
it
very
depends
good.
what you like more.
Okay.
I just thought it was interesting that that we take these opportunities to talk about things that advance ourselves so often, and it's nice to hear that the positivity coming back. It's like we're even if we're not there, we're getting there. We're on the road. We're on the yellow brick road. We're going to get there. And it's just really cool to be able to share those kind of little insights and little quips as we're going along. It was just kind of neat. And today I'm like, it's Labor Day, but are we on the call today? I'm not quite sure. So, hence my nice attire.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, great.
And interestingly enough, I didn't sell a mug, but I did talk to somebody, and I'm selling them a pair of socks. So I got to figure out how to do that now.
Okay. Customized socks.
Yeah, apparently they're on Custom Happy.
Okay.
Yeah, through Rachel. So I was going to put on a sweatshirt, and I said, hey, yeah, we get all these different things. I can put it on clothing. I can put it on socks. He goes, oh, I'd like it on a pair of socks. And I'm like, yeah, maybe I should have just stuck with the sweatshirt and stopped talking.
I don't know. You maybe have a sock empire going on here. There's
we could have
entire
the whole-
sports teams that are named after colors of socks, right? So
There you go.
good stuff. Glad you're here, brother. Happy
Yeah,
Labor
thank
Day to you.
You too. Happy Labor Day.
Let's go to Annette and then Pauline and then Missy. Hey, Annette, what's going on, my friend?
Hi, I'm really enjoying that. I'm enjoying Labor Day with this whole new process that we're working on. And I believe I have been adopting recently what you're saying about this advancing concept. And I also followed the positivity concept. And I went down the other day to see a boat nearby called Theodore. I just did it on a whim. Theodore is this cute little tugboat, famous in Canada. He's traveling cross country now. I went alone. Other people, not too into it. Very whimsical thing to do. So I get there, and there's this woman there selling mermaid outfits. Now, all women, we love the mermaid concept. So I bought a mermaid outfit, and then she did a video of me, and I'm going to be performing at the Mermaid Festival next summer and getting hooked up with the Motown Mermaids because I'm near Detroit. And so just a fun angle that got me excited, and she was very excited about me, and I promoted myself too, and she was buying it and she was excited, and it was a whole big fun thing, and leading me to more ideas and how to promote or my whole brand that I'm developing for Etsy.
Wow. That is so cool. I'm just pulling up pictures of Theodore right now because I have no
Oh,
idea what that
hey.
is. Yeah, I used to be a diesel engineer on a tugboat fleet in New York Harbor.
Oh.
And yeah, that's the guy, huh?
That's
Theodore?
Theodore. So cute. And his eyes move.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, the tugboats I worked on were a little bit bigger and not as cute. So
Yeah.
that is fun. All right. Thank you.
Something
Thank
about
you
a tugboat.
for sharing that. Yeah, you know what, guys? This is part of, I think, part of the whole experience that we're having is that we can have, also time to do things like what Annette was just talking about. Like once you've got control of your time, which I know was one of the main draws of e-commerce, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Theodore. Maybe I'll come see Theodore. Where is he right now? Wait.
Oh,
can I
he's
even-
he's probably right around Detroit right now. He's
Oh,
probably
okay.
in Detroit right now on the St. Clair River.
Okay. Very good. And the kids, I'm sure, love it, right? Isn't that
Oh,
great?
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what
lot
we
of
had? You know what we had here? Thomas the Train. You guys know Thomas the Train?
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah. So kind of like a cute version of a big industrial piece of machinery, but Thomas the Train, and it was here. Yeah. It was actually, where were we? Salt Lake City. I got to see Thomas the Train with my daughter. It was a lot of fun. So good stuff. Thank you, Annette. Now I know who Theodore is. Let's go to Pauline and then Missy. Hey, Pauline, what's going on, my friend?
I think it was Thomas the Tank Engine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, John, for that. As you was talking, something came to my mind, actually looked down and saw something. But just to say, control of my time is I'm finding a real struggle with work and juggling meetings, different things I'm involved in, and it's been quite difficult. It's been quite difficult, but God is good.
Mhm.
And as you was talking, now today's reading was giving brings receiving, and as you spoke, I thought of the scripture says, "He who sows bountifully will reap bountifully." And as you spoke, I thought the more you put in and the more you put out there is the more you receive. So the more you give, the more I can give, the more I will get back. And I thought about, even though with my time, I'm trying, it is very difficult, I must admit, but I know it won't be forever. I'm determined that it's going to get better because I've got a plan and it will work. And I've actually started to cut out some of this stuff just to make time so that I can do this business. So as you were speaking, that I looked down and I saw that you sows bountifully, and I thought I need to be sowing bountifully into this business so that I can reap bountifully from this business. So that's my aim. That is my desire. And I know by God's grace, it will happen. I will get there. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Pauline.
Your encouragement. Thank you so much.
So glad you're here. Yeah. And look, this is just the beginning. Everybody remember the early days of Pauline in this business. Think back on these days, right? So more to come, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of more to come, let's release the Kraken right here. Missy, you've got the floor, my friend.
The Kraken's going to reminisce a little because I want to go back to the impression of increase if I could. With two
Okay.
examples. When I was a little girl, I lived in Long Island City, went to St. Mary's School right on the East River. You could smell it. And we would go to the candy store. around the corner, right by the church. Ben, the candy store guy, that's what we called him. And he sat behind his counter, and it was the penny candy. This is the 60s. He talked to every kid. He knew all our names. He said, Missy, you want that thing's over there. Kenny, you're all right. Take an extra one, Kenny. He would do things like that. That is one of the strongest memories I have of my life. I've been the candy store guy. I never knew his last name. And then I had a teacher in high school who the school opened in 1955, and he maintained friendships with, he was a music teacher, so they were more specialized, and he maintained true friendships with many people, including me, until the end of his life. And about a year before he died, I got a whole group of us together that he hadn't seen in 35 years. And we took him out to lunch, but I had always been in touch with him over the phone, and he would call and it just, and I found out that I was a music teacher, private, and I just got a call from my student who lives in Israel now, and he calls me every other Friday, and before sundown. He's became an Israeli citizen, and he left me the most beautiful voice message telling me how much I mean to his life and how I've added to his life. And I'm just talking to him and, trying to be funny. And I found that it translated into Etsy with the customers. It's just something natural that I picked up from these other people in my life. I'm trying to give them more. And the other day we put something up on the shop, and it's a little card, call it a holy card. And the people who bought this first mug that got shown on YouTube, it's for sale now, but we just got a thank you card, and we sent it to these people for free, just to thank them for being our first 10 customers who bought the mug. And we're going to give it to people who buy that mug from now on. And when people write back to me, they're talking to me like I'm their friend, and they're like, Missy, you're a hoot, and this is the best experience I've had on YouTube. I don't mean it to sound braggy. It's just that this person literally said this to me. And but I got that from Ben, the candy store guy, who knew the name of every kid, and there were thousands of us.
Right.
From first to eighth grade, there were 150 kids in the first grade alone. So imagine that going up to all the way. He knew everybody. And I'm finding I'm doing it more and more and more. And in my life, not just in the business, but it's translating easily. And I just wanted to remember Ben and rest in peace. And thank you for being in my life, Ben. And Mr.
Wow.
Sis-
Wow. So what an impression that made. That was an impression of increase. And
When I
as
was a
a,
little-
right. And as an impressionable child, right, that stuck with you, but who isn't impressionable, right? I mean, you could see for good or bad, right? People running with, things that have impressed or have been impressed upon them to their own, success or detriment, right? So if we're going to be showing up in the marketplace, in the world, on the planet, well, then let's do it deliberately, right? Let's decide how are we going to show up. And so, Missy, congratulations to you. So now, yes, of course, you're receiving praise and thanks from people who are enjoying your product, but also now, I mean, just think about word of mouth, right? And where can that go, right? Oh, well, Missy is the person who does the cups. Fantastic. In fact, I had, we're going to go back to Michael. Hey, Michael. I had, his name was also Ben. It was Benny's Meat Market in Brick Township, New Jersey in the 1970s, right? And we would go into Benny, the butcher shop, and he would always have for us kids the end cuts of the salami and the ham or whatever. So these are the ends, right? And he would give us the ends and a little piece of Italian bread, and we'd eat the ends. Yeah, it was. I'll never forget it. Never forget it. Michael, you've got the floor again. Come on, sir.
Hello. Your stories about the restaurant and Missy's stories, they all remind me of how we are authentically connecting with people. And if we can continue that authentic connection, then we're never going to go wrong. And I remember this, you're talking about Italian. In New York, when I was growing up, we always go to Mario's. And Mario's was owned by Mario, and he would come up, same thing, talk to us. Always the red checkered the tablecloths, the Chianti bottles with the jerky candles, you know, the whole thing. We'd always have the same pizza. He would always come up and talk to us from the back. And I don't know if that's an Italian thing, but you know, we're hearing about Benny. We're hearing about candy. I think it's a cultural small business thing. You've got to know your people. You've got to be able to connect with them. And you know, in our day and age, we didn't have internet. We didn't have, I mean, barely had telephones, kind of thing. So it was word of mouth. We connected with people on a personal level. And when we can do that kind of thing, boy, there's no stopping anybody. And we just, again, we're talking about doing things on purpose and connecting with people directly, like heart to heart, eye to eye. You're not using the internet or this thing where, you know, you see a screen pop up you've never seen before, and you start talking to somebody on their chat window, and that's it. You know, or Missy's taking the extra step and sending the cards out and that kind of thing, and we're doing those other things to be special and make it personal, about personalization. And I think that's fantastic. And yeah, it was really neat to hear the stories of you guys, connecting and those memories, making memories. You know, it's really cool.
So
Thank you
Michael,
for that.
how can we do that via the internet?
I'm thinking about that.
Right. Well, let me give you an example. And Missy just gave you one where here's the thank you card. Okay. But even with automation, so let's say I'm on Amazon. This is real. Okay. This happens all the time. So I'm on Amazon and I buy, what was it I bought? I bought a tactical pen, aircraft grade aluminum. It's got the little
Right
window
upside
breaker
down.
on the end. Right. It's like a heavy duty pen. And so when I bought that, I also got a follow-up email from the seller. Hey, we're a veteran-owned small business. We appreciate, of course, your feedback. By the way, we've got the bottle openers, the survival bracelet with the paracord. Buy more stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
But essentially, I got to connect with that brand via Amazon. Okay. Now they weren't sitting there clicking buttons. Yeah. They clicked them at first and then set up the automation and there you go.
Right.
Guess what? I bought more stuff.
Yeah. Again, you're like you said, it's in their case, it's saying, hey, it's your story. Your story sells. Saying, in this case, it was veterans selling their story and saying, thank you, we appreciate you, we're grateful, showing the gratitude. And by the way, we've got some other stuff. If you're interested, if you liked us, then maybe let us earn your business going forward. And obviously, they did.
That's it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just a tactical pen. It was a tactical pen from that purveyor of those kind of things that I like. And here's why they purvey those sort of things, right? Because of their history and their story. Facts tell, stories sell. That is beautiful. And I think, look, if we got nothing else out of this talk today, what Michael just brought up and what Missy brought up is profound in the way that we could find ways to make it more personal. Don't let this just be coffee cups on the internet. There's a bigger game here. All right. So play the game.
Yeah.
And it's fun and you'll feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you have tactical underwear as well?
I got tactical underwear on right now, brother. Yeah.
You gotta be protected. You gotta be prepared.
Okay. Everything's tactical these days. It's yeah. So, well, at least in the circles that I run in, there's a lot of, with gun training and all this kind of stuff, tactical this, tactical that, so ask some people sometimes, what is tactical? Define tactical. And you get some interesting answers.
See if you can buy tactical bacon. It came on the market. It was so popular. Now you can't even find it.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else for today before we wrap up? All right. I carry around one of these. This is a tooth flossing device, right? And it's got a little pick, which is very good for cleaning the lint out of your iPhone lightning connector. Just giving you guys a little tactical instruction here today. So you got the lightning connector that sits in your pocket. It collects a little bit of lint. You get in there with the plastic. It doesn't damage anything. You keep this on you at all times. And you've got a little tooth flossing item here. I actually came up with a tactical tooth flossing device caddy. Maybe I'll show it to you guys sometime. It's just part of the normal kit. You know, if you're doing like gun training and stuff, you got belt and you got all the kit. So that's my tactical tooth flossing device. All right, guys, let's wrap up with that. Have an awesome day, a Labor Day or whatever kind of day you want to have. TGIM, thank God it's Monday. Let's get on with it. We're going to be back here tomorrow with, of course, Karen, who is awesome. And she's going to be sharing some awesome stuff with you. All right. So tune in then. Same bat time, same bat channel. Thank you guys for being here. We'll see you again real soon.